It's time to enter the drone zone with me, James Drone, aka Pure Ambient Drone. So hit that subscribe button, tap that bell, and get ready to synth on.
Hey there, Synth Drones. It is episode number 22 of Midnight Synthesizer Talk with me, James Drone, the voice of synthesizers. I am so glad that you are here where we can close our eyes, open our ears, and expand our minds. Oh, what a great feeling to just get smarter, to get more informed, to get more enlightened. Yes, that's what it's all about. And if you want to explore more and get deeper into my world, my Patreon page has exclusive content. So you're getting something for something when you go to my Patreon site. It has exclusive content that you won't find anywhere here. Check it out in the description of this video. You will love it. Okay, so tonight I want to talk about the Behringer Arp Odyssey. Yes, I have one. I know, right? The guy that says a billion times over that he does not like synthesizers without presets gives in and gets an Arp Odyssey. If you haven't already seen my video on the sound for this thing, you need to check it out after this video. So I went ahead and I got it. I didn't pay for it so much as I traded for it. And I wanted to give it a shot because I talk so much about Behringer, but I've had so few of their synthesizers here in my studio. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but I have another piece of gear from Behringer that arrived at the same time that the Arp Odyssey did. And that is also a big surprise that I will be releasing over here as well. So I think you guys are going to be surprised about this next piece of gear. But let's get back to the Arp Odyssey from Behringer. Now, one of the reasons why I bought it is because I wanted to give it a shot, and I had the Carp, okay, the Korg version of the Arp Odyssey. And I have to say that this one feels as if it's built better than the one that I had. But to be fair, it's been a while since I actually had the Carp. So just for simplicity, I just want to say that I'm going to call the Behringer Arp the Barp, and then the Korg is going to be the Carp. I hope that that's just easier for you guys to understand. So the Carp, when I had it, it felt a little flimsy. I had the smaller version. I didn't have the full size. And it felt a little flimsy to me. And I didn't think that the build quality was as good as it is with the Behringer. The Behringer is encased in nice metal. The knobs are firm. The sliders are just fantastic. They feel like silk. Okay. The buttons are nice. Everything about it is great. The display, the LED is nice and crystal clear, very easy to read even at an angle. The keyboard feels very responsive, very solid. The whole machine is built very well. In fact, if I had to compare it to the DeepMind 12, I would say it is a step above that build. And the DeepMind 12 is a really well built synthesizer, by the way. It just feels a little more sturdier with the sliders than the DeepMind 12. I always felt that the DeepMind 12 sliders kind of were a little wiggly, but maybe it's just my unit. I don't know. I have one of the very first ones released in the US. So I'm playing around with this thing, and I quickly learned why, or remembered why, I should say. I don't like synthesizers without presets because the ARP is so powerful, because there's so many features and options. To me, it's a little overwhelming because I like to start from presets, and that's just me. It's how I operate. Remember, I am a soft ambient musician for the most part. I've written in all genres except for maybe a few, okay, in the electronica world, that is. And I just like to start with presets. I like to start with soft things, and I'm used to pads. So I just want you guys to know what angle I'm coming at with this, because everybody comes at these synthesizers with different angles according to how they write music and what they listen to and what they perform. Okay, and that's fair. But here's the thing. So this is a mono synth, but it's duophonic. Okay, and it's got a lot of crazy stuff going on. The effects processor, man, there's a lot of options in there that I didn't realize that you could have with the onboard effects. So that was a real plus for me to find that out. And I really haven't read much about the BARP. I just kind of just went for it, got it, and it's pretty neat. It's totally different than any monosynth I've ever experienced. Now, if I had to compare it to other monosynths, it's not really a fair comparison because one, it's not meant to compete with any other synthesizer out there except for a Carp or the original. And I've never had the original, but I've had other monosynths. And I can tell you that it's totally different from, let's say, a Behringer Model D. Now, with the Behringer Model D, I kind of found it a little easier, the Model D I'm talking about, to come up with some useful sounds. And with this one here, it was a little more challenging for me. Now, I've also had an MS20 Mini from Korg, and I just love that synthesizer. And I can tell you the differences that I perceived is I just kind of feel that the Korg MS20 sounded a little thicker, a little more soupier. And this one is a little more rough. This one's a little more tougher, a little more grittier. But to be fair, the MS20 had that dirty filter that was just filthy, but it didn't really translate into a lot of dirt and grit into the sound. Whereas this one is real brass. This one here is real edgy. The barp is. So, comparing it to the MS20, I thought that the MS20 was a little bit easier to get usable sounds out of quicker for me. With all of that said, if I had more time with this synthesizer, I would probably just be flying through it and just learning it left and right. But here's the thing. I am not a no preset kind of a guy. I like a starting point. And the other thing is, I'm not much on monosynths. In my opinion, the two best monosynths I've ever had, okay, I'm not saying in the world, okay, I'm not picking for everybody, but my two favorite monosynthesizers today, well, actually, I have to go with three. The Little slash Slim Fatty, the MS20, and the Behringer Model D. Those are the three that I've used that I've liked the most. I've had the best experience with. And I did take time to learn them, but for some reason, their layout and their sound appealed to me in such a way that I caught on to them quicker. And it could just be that with this Behringer Odyssey, I haven't spent enough time with it, and I may not be as interested in a monosynth as I was in the past. Okay. I used to be extremely interested in monosynths and I took more time with them. So there's that factor too. So by no means is this any kind of criticism because I want to get to the actual sound of the machine. You can go from 0 to 60 with this synthesizer real quick. And I can't see a person not being able to pull out a bag of tricks with this thing. I mean, this synthesizer is very versatile. You can go from basses to leads to special effects in the blink of an eye. And that was just me using this for a couple of days, getting familiar with it, because it's been here for a little while. I just haven't done a video until today. So I can tell you that there is a lot of use that you can get out of this synthesizer. And unlike the Carp, the Barp has onboard effects. So you can do all kinds of crazy things with the effects. And then with all the settings, I mean, the possibilities are just virtually unlimited. So it's a very great sounding synthesizer that if you spend time with it, and maybe you're different than me, maybe this kind of synthesizer appeals to you quicker, whereas the MS-20, I just kind of just went to it like a fish to water. The Model D, I loved that synthesizer. Ultimately sold it because no presets. Now, will I keep the ARP? I would if I was a no preset synthesizer guy. I would if I needed another mono synth. I currently do not own any mono synths, period, at the time of this video, except for the Behringer Arp Odyssey. I probably won't be keeping this synthesizer. It will probably more than likely find its way on the chop block, simply because I am out of room. I don't like synthesizers without presets, and it can always bring a few bucks to buy something that I do want. But that's just my take on the Arp Odyssey. What do you guys think about the Arp Odyssey? Do you have an opinion? Do you have experience with one? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, I'm James Drone. Hit that subscribe button, tap that bell, and most of all, keep calm and synth on.